The board had voted. You're out. Amanda smirked from across the mahogany conference table, her perfectly manicured hands folded as if she had just won a chess match. I'm the new CEO now. Her blue eyes, so similar to mine, gleamed with triumph. She was waiting for my reaction, expecting shock, outrage, maybe even begging. Instead, I stayed seated, my posture relaxed despite the tension crackling through the room. A faint smile played at my lips as I flipped open the leather portfolio in front of me. Check page 394 of the contract, I said evenly. I am Catherine Morrison, founder of Morrison Tech. At 35, I was watching my younger sister attempt to steal the company I built from the ground up. The irony wasn't lost on me. This was the same sister who had once laughed at the idea of running a business, calling it boring. 5 years ago, I had offered her a partnership. She had scoffed. Now she wanted everything. This morning had started like any other. I had arrived early at Morrison Tech's headquarters, my gleaming glass fortress in downtown Seattle, where the quiet hum of computers and the scent of coffee signaled another day of innovation. Then, an unexpected board meeting had appeared on my calendar, unusual since our quarterly meeting wasn't due for another month. I had ignored the twinge of unease. I shouldn't have. Now, as Amanda's smirk faltered, I thought of all the signs I had brushed off, the whispered conversations that ended when I walked into a room, Amanda's sudden interest in financial reports, the late-night meetings with board members.
What's on page 394?
She demanded, confidence wavering for the first time. I let the silence stretch before glancing at the board members, people I had handpicked. Most couldn't meet my gaze, only Marcus Chen, our chief legal counsel, held my eye, the ghost of a smile playing at the corners of his mouth. The succession clause, I said, my voice clear and deliberate. It requires any new CEO to have at least 5 years of senior management experience in a tech company. I tilted my head. How long have you been our marketing director, Amanda? 2 years? The color drained from her face. That's just a technicality. We can amend that. Marcus cleared his throat. Actually, we can't. That clause was written into the company's founding documents. It would require a 100% shareholder vote to modify. I leaned back. And as a majority shareholder, I'm not voting for that change. Silence. I could almost hear the wheels turning in Amanda's head. She had always been like this, reckless, banking on charm and our family name to smooth over any obstacles. Her jaw tightened. This isn't over. I stood mirroring her movements. No, Amanda, it's just beginning. She stormed out, her heels clicking against the polished floor. The remaining board members shifted uncomfortably. I let them stew in their guilt before speaking. Now, I said, pressing my palms flat against the cool table, let's discuss what a special board meeting was called without notifying the CEO. The next hour was an exercise in discomfort. Excuses tumbled forth. Concerns about my focus on R&D, my hesitation to take the company public. I listened and dismantled every weak justification with surgical precision. By the end, 3 board members resigned. I accepted their departures with a gracious nod. Marcus already had replacements lined up. Back in my office, I finally allowed myself to feel the weight of what had happened. My own sister had tried to take what I built. I walked to the floor-to-ceiling windows, gazing at the Seattle skyline. The Space Needle stood in the distance, a reminder of why I had chosen to build Morris and Tech here instead of Silicon Valley. I had always done things my way, even if it meant standing alone. And knock at my door. Marcus entered, holding 2 cups of coffee. Thought you might need this, he said. I took it gratefully. How long have you known? 3 weeks. Amanda asked me to review succession procedures. She didn't realize I helped write them. I nodded. Of course she hadn't done her due diligence. My phone buzzed with a text from Amanda. You might have one this round, but don't get too comfortable. There's more than one way to take control of a company. I showed it to Marcus, who raised an eyebrow. Would you like me to start documenting everything? Please, and set up meetings with our major shareholders. They need to understand exactly what happened today. As Marcus left, I pulled up the company's founding documents. Page 394. My insurance policy. I had written it after watching a friend lose her startup to an unqualified but politically savvy. I had never imagined I'd be using it against my own sister. Another text from Amanda. Mom and Dad will be so disappointed. A familiar pang. Our parents had always struggled to understand my dedication to Morrison Tech. They had been thrilled when Amanda joined, believing it would bring us closer. Now I had to explain that their golden child had tried to orchestrate a corporate coup. My computer pinged an email from Amanda. She had called an all-hands meeting for tomorrow. Subject line: Important company updates and strategic vision discussion. I smirked. She was trying to rally the troops, probably spinning herself as the victim of bureaucracy. I picked up my phone. Maria, cancel Amanda's all hands. Send a company-wide email stating that all internal communications require CEO approval and revoke Amanda's admin access. Right away, Maria said. Should I be worried? Not for your job, but things will get messy. The rest of the day blurred into strategy meetings, shareholder calls, and an internal audit. By evening, I was exhausted, but my company was secure for now. As I walked to my car, a familiar click of heels echoed in the underground garage. I turned. Amanda leaned against a concrete pillar, arms crossed. You're making a mistake, she said. I met her gaze. Is that what you told the board? That I'm too careful? Too focused on sustainable growth instead of reckless expansion? I told him the truth. Her voice sharpened. You're holding Morris, your tech back. We could be 10 times bigger by now if you weren't so obsessed with control. I laughed. Control? You mean like staging a coup? She took a step forward. You left me no choice. Every time I suggested change, you dismissed me. Someone had to act. And that someone had to be you. I asked, voice steady, the marketing director who still hasn't launched an overdue product campaign. Her face darkened. You focus too much on details. We need bold moves. Risks. Like a failed takeover attempt? How's that bold move working out for you? For a moment, she looked ready to argue. But then she exhaled, forcing composure. This isn't over, Catherine. You won because of fine print. But there are other ways to force change. Remember that. I watched her walk away, feeling a mix of sadness and determination. My sister, the girl I had grown up with, trusted, was gone. In her place was someone who would sacrifice family for power. As I drove home, my phone lit up. Mom and Dad. I hesitated, then let it go to voicemail. That battle could wait. For now, I had a company to protect and a war to win. I hesitated at my front door, keys in hand, bracing myself. Through the window, I saw them. Mom perched anxiously on the edge of the sofa, Dad pacing near the fireplace. The second I stepped inside, Mom was on her feet. Catherine, she began, her voice tight. What is this about you blocking your sister from advancing in the company? I set my briefcase down, exhaling slowly. That's an interesting way to describe Amanda's attempted hostile takeover. Dad stopped pacing. Hostile takeover. Amanda said the board voted for new leadership because you've been making reckless decisions. Of course, that's what she told them. I moved to the kitchen, needing coffee to get through this. They followed, hovering like disappointed judges. Did she mention that she orchestrated this vote without notifying the CEO? That it violates company bylaws? Or that she doesn't even meet the qualifications for the role? Mom waved dismissively. Qualifications can change. Catherine, she's trying to help. She says Morrison Tech is stagnating because you refuse to take risks. The coffee maker beeped. I poured myself a cup, not offering them any. Let me be clear. Amanda tried to steal my company today. She failed because I had safeguards in place. That's not help. That's betrayal. Don't be melodramatic. Dad snapped. No one's stealing anything. The board simply thinks it's time for fresh leadership. The board, I repeated, voice steady, was manipulated into an illegal vote. 3 members have already resigned rather than face legal consequences. That got their attention. Mom sank into a chair. Dad's face darkened. Legal consequences? You'd sue your own sister. If necessary, yes. The words came out harder than I intended, but I didn't soften them. I built this company. I won't let anyone destroy it, family or not. Mom's voice dropped to a whisper. 12 years of nothing but work. No husband, no children. Just this company. And now you're willing to tear this family apart for it? I set my cup down with a sharp click. I'm not the one tearing us apart. Amanda staged a coup, and instead of questioning her, you're here accusing me. Because we know you, Catherine. Mom shot back. You've always been stubborn, always had to do everything your way. Amanda says you won't even consider her ideas. Her ideas? I let out a short laugh. Like the $3 million marketing campaign with zero research? Or jumping into cryptocurrency before we've even gone public? Those ideas. Mom turned to Dad. See? She dismisses everything Amanda suggests. I pinched the bridge of my nose. I dismiss bad ideas. That's my job. Dad's voice was quiet but firm. Maybe it shouldn't be anymore. The words hung in the air, suffocating. I stared at him, the man who taught me about business ethics, who encouraged me to build something of my own. You've made Morrison Tech your whole life, he continued. Maybe it's time to step back. And let Amanda take over. My voice was sharp. She has less than 2 years of real experience. She orchestrated a backroom deal. That's who you want running a 50 million company? She has fresh ideas, Mom insisted. She understands what young people want. Stop. I raised a hand. Just stop. I can't have this conversation when you refuse to see what's happening. Mom's face crumpled. We're trying to help. No, you're trying to fix something that isn't broken. Morrison Tech is growing. The only problem is Amanda's impatience and your blind loyalty. Dad's expression hardened. And what is she then? I met his gaze, a spoiled, entitled woman who thinks she deserves success without earning it. Mom gasped. Dad's jaw clenched. We should go. I think you should. They leapt in silence. The door clicked shut, and I stood there, listening to their car pull away before sinking against the kitchen wall. My phone buzzed. Amanda, hope you enjoyed the family meeting. There's more where that came from. I exhaled sharply. She had played this perfectly, painting herself as the victim while weaponizing our parents. Fine. I pulled out my laptop and composed an email to Marcus. Need everything we have on Amanda's marketing projects from the past 2 years specifically. Budget overruns. Missed deadlines. Failed initiatives. Any communications showing reckless decision-making. Schedule a meeting with HR first thing tomorrow. Time to review Amanda's entire employment history. And one more thing. I want a full audit of her department's expenses. Every coffee run. Every client dinner. Every office supply order. Something tells me she hasn't been careful. I hit send and stood, my resolve hardening. If Amanda wanted a war, I'd give her one. The next morning I arrived early. Maria, ever efficient, was already at her desk. Your 8 a.m. with HR is confirmed, she said. Marcus sent over the preliminary files. They're in your secure drive. Good. I hesitated. Maria, how long have you worked here? 7 years next month. In that time, have I ever given you reason to doubt my leadership? She met my gaze. Never. Not once. I nodded. Thank you, because things are about to get messy and I need to know who I can trust. You can trust me, she said without hesitation. Some of us remember who built this company, and it wasn't Amanda. The HR meeting was revealing. Amanda's personnel file contained multiple complaints from subordinates about her management style, quietly handled to avoid family drama. There were also expense account abuses, nothing catastrophic alone. But together they painted a picture of entitlement. Why wasn't I informed of these issues? I asked, keeping my tone neutral. The HR director shifted. Miss Amanda said she would discuss them with you directly. She implied you preferred handling family matters privately. Of course she had. That changes now, I said. From this point forward, any issue regarding Amanda Morrison goes through normal channels. No exceptions. I spent the morning reviewing Marcus's findings. Amanda's marketing projects were disasters. Over budget, under-delivered, riddled with impractical ideas. The cryptocurrency push would have exposed us to massive regulatory risk. Her bold vision for the company. Just trend chasing with no strategy. At noon, my office door burst open. Amanda stormed in, waving her phone. What is this? HR and finance are auditing my department. I leaned back in my chair. Standard procedure after an attempted leadership coup. We need to ensure all departments are operating properly. This is harassment. No, this is accountability. Something you've avoided for too long. I gestured to the chair. Want to discuss the findings? She remained standing, arms crossed. You're just doing this because you're angry. I'm doing this because it's necessary. Based on these reports, you may not even be qualified for your current role. She paled. You wouldn't dare fire me. Try me. I picked up a folder. Shall we go over these expense reports? Or your management complaints? You're making a mistake, she seethed. The board still wants change. This isn't over. No, I agreed. It's not, but you started this war. Don't be surprised when I finish it. As she stalked out, I dialed Marcus. Schedule a full board meeting. They need to see this. If Amanda wanted to play games, she was about to lose. The next few days at Morrison Tech felt like navigating a battlefield. Every morning, a fresh challenge awaited. Each one carefully crafted by Amanda to undermine my authority without crossing a clear line. First, key clients started calling with concerns about the company's direction. Each conversation traced back to Amanda, who had been selectively leaking information about our R&D setbacks while conveniently omitting our breakthroughs. Then came the rumors, whispers about layoffs if I remained in charge. They originated in Amanda's department, but never directly from her. She's refining her approach. Marcus noted during our strategy meeting. No outright violations, just constant strategic disruption. I scrolled through a report on my tablet. She learned from her first mistake. Now she's going for death by 1,000 cuts. Board meeting set for Friday, Marcus continued. I've compiled a report on her performance issues, but... He hesitated. She's been meeting with James Cooper. That made me look up sharply. Cooper was the CEO with TechVantage Solutions, our biggest competitor, notorious for acquiring struggling companies and gutting them for parts. You're sure? 3 meetings in the past week, all off-site. Security caught them on camera at Riverside Cafe. I leaned back in my chair, my mind racing. Amanda wouldn't. But even as I thought it, I knew she absolutely would. We need proof, Marcus said. Right now it's just meetings. Suspicious but not actionable. I pulled up our project database. Check access logs for the AI platform. See who's viewed it and when. Minutes later, Marcus exhaled sharply. Amanda accessed the complete documentation last Tuesday. The next morning, our first meeting with Cooper. I clenched my jaw. Gather everything, security footage, credit card receipts, anything. And Marcus, this stays between us. That evening, I phoned Buzz with a text from Mom. Family dinner tonight. Non-negotiable. Your father insists. Perfect. Just what I needed. The family home hadn't changed in 20 years. A sprawling craftsman in one of Seattle's oldest neighborhoods. Amanda's car was already in the driveway when I arrived. Mom greeted me at the door. Your sister's helping in the kitchen, she said, voice pointed. Of course she was. Amanda had always played the perfect daughter. I found Dad in his study reviewing papers. Catherine, he said without looking up. Glad you could make time for family. Dinner was an exercise in forced civility. Amanda asked Mom about her garden club. Dad about his golf game. I focused on my food, waiting for her real agenda. It arrived with dessert. Had lunch with James Cooper today. Amanda said lightly. He's very interested in Morris and Tech's potential. I set down my fork. I'm sure he is. He thinks we're undervalued. That with the right leadership and investment, we could be worth 10 times what we are now. Dad perked up. 10 times? TechVantage has the resources to help us scale quickly. Amanda continued. James suggested a merger might be beneficial. And there it was, her new play. If she couldn't take control, she'd sell us out to someone who'd give her power. A merger means losing control, I said carefully. Sometimes letting go is the best way to grow. Mom chimed in right on cue. I saw it clearly now. Amanda had laid the groundwork, hinting me as the obstacle. The stubborn one standing in the way of progress. Let's be clear, I said, my voice cutting through the room. Morris & Tech is not for sale. Not to TechVantage. Not to anyone. Don't be unreasonable, Catherine. Dad interjected. Unreasonable? Do you know what TechVantage does to acquired companies? They strip them for parts, lay off employees, and swallow their technology. That's not true, Amanda protested. James said. James Cooper has dismantled 3 companies in 5 years. And you know that. I leaned forward. Just like you know our AI platform is the real reason he's interested. Her face flickered before she caught herself. I don't know what you're talking about. No. Should we discuss your after-hours access to confidential project files? Or your convenient meetings with Cooper right after? Silence. Mom pressed a hand to her chest. Dad's face darkened. Are you accusing your sister of corporate espionage? He demanded. I'm stating facts. Facts I can prove. Amanda's composure cracked. You're spying on me? I'm protecting my company. She pushed back from the table. This is why Morris & Tech needs new leadership. You're paranoid, controlling, and you're desperate. I cut in. So desperate for power that you'd sell company secrets to a competitor. I was exploring growth options. You were betraying everything we built. Everything you built? Amanda laughed bitterly. I'm just as much a Morrison as you are. The name doesn't make you qualified to run a tech company. Enough. Mom's voice shook. This is getting out of hand. I stood chair scraping against the hardwood. No. This needs to be said. Amanda isn't interested in what's best for Morris & Tech. She's interested in power. That's not true. Amanda insisted. But her voice wavered. Really? Shall we discuss your meetings with shareholders where you imply I was misappropriating company funds? Her face paled. How did you? I told you. I'm done playing games. I know every move you've made. Dad slammed his hand on the table. Enough. Both of you my study. Now. As we followed him down the hall, I caught a reflection in the foyer mirror. 2 sisters, alike in features but divided by everything else. The study door closed behind us with a decisive click. Dad braced his hands on the desk. 12 years ago, when Catherine started Morris & Tech, I told her family and business don't mix. She insisted blood was thicker than business. He exhaled. I've never been so sorry to be right. Daddy. Amanda started, but he held up a hand. I'm not finished. Catherine, you built something incredible. But your sister is right about one thing. You don't share control easily. I opened my mouth to protest, but he pressed on. And Amanda, if what your sister says is true, what you've done isn't just unethical. It's illegal. Amanda's face crumpled. I was trying to prove my worth. By selling us out, I snapped. Dad's voice was steel. This ends now. Either you two find a way to work together, or one of you leaves Morris & Tech. I won't watch this company destroy our family. The ultimate, I'm hung heavy in the air. I won't give up my company, I said quietly. And I won't stay where I'm not valued, Amanda replied. Dad's shoulders sagged. Then I guess you've made your choices. As we left, Amanda grabbed my arm. This isn't over. I met her gaze. No, Amanda. You've already proven what you deserve. The only question is how much damage you'll do before you accept it. She let go as if burned. And as I stepped outside, I knew whatever happened next. Our family would never be the same. The email arrived at 3 a.m., a week after the disastrous family dinner. I was still at the office, reviewing security protocols for our upcoming ad platform launch when the notification popped up on my screen. From James Cooper, subject merger proposal urgent. Catherine, your sister shared some concerning information about Morrison Tech's financial status. I'd like to discuss a potential acquisition before this becomes public knowledge. My offer of $200 million expires in 48 hours. Regards, James Cooper, CEO, Tech Vantage Solutions. I stared at the screen, my coffee growing cold beside me. So this was Amanda's play: manipulate our financial reports to make a company appear unstable, and force a quick sale before the truth could come out. My phone rang. Marcus. I assume you got the email, he said without preamble. I did. How bad is it? Amanda altered the key 3 projections before sharing them with Cooper, made it look like we're bleeding money. She also accidentally leaked information about development delays in our AI platform. I pinched the bridge of my nose. Can we prove it was her? Already have. I've been tracking every keystroke on our financial systems since she started meeting with Cooper. We have timestamps, login records, everything. I looked at the Seattle skyline, the lights blurring through my office windows. She's committed actual fraud now. This isn't just family drama anymore. No, Marcus agreed. It's not. What do you want to do? The question hung in the air. What I wanted to do was protect the company I'd built. What I needed to do might destroy my family forever. Call the SEC, I said finally. Send them everything we have. And Marcus, get me a meeting with Cooper, first thing tomorrow. The next morning, I sat in Tech Vantage's sleek conference room, facing James Cooper across a table that probably cost more than my first car. Amanda sat beside him, trying to look confident but fidgeting with her watch. Catherine, Cooper smiled, all teeth and no warmth. I trust you've considered my offer. I have. I opened my laptop. But before we discuss that, I'd like to share some information. I turned the screen toward them, displaying a detailed spreadsheet. These are Morrison Tech's actual key 3 projections, not the manipulated versions Amanda shared with you. Cooper's smile faltered. Amanda went pale. As you can see, I continued, we're not only stable but growing. Our AI platform is on schedule for launch next month, and our cash reserves are healthy. That's not. Amanda started, but I cut her off. I've already submitted evidence of financial document manipulation to the SEC. They're very interested in how altered reports ended up in a competitor's hands. Cooper's face hardened. Are you threatening me? Not at all. I'm giving you a chance to distance yourself from corporate fraud before the investigation becomes public. He turned to Amanda. You said you had authority to share those documents. I did. I'm a director of the company. Who committed fraud? I interrupted by altering financial reports and sharing confidential information. The SEC takes a dim view of that, as I'm sure your lawyers will explain. Cooper stood abruptly. This meeting is over. Amanda, don't leave town. Our legal team will be in touch. After he stormed out, Amanda sat frozen, staring at the evidence on my laptop screen. Why? I asked quietly. Was destroying me really worth destroying yourself? I never meant. She trailed off, then rallied. You gave me no choice. You wouldn't listen, wouldn't give me a real chance. A real chance? I gave you a director position with minimal experience. I supported your projects even when they failed. I protected you from consequences that would have gotten anyone else fired. But you never saw me as an equal. Because you weren't. I snapped. You hadn't earned it. Leadership isn't a birthright, Amanda. It's earned through hard work, good decisions, and putting the company before yourself. Everything you failed to do. She slumped in her chair, the fight finally leaving her. What happens now? Now you resign. Immediately. The SEC investigation will proceed, but if you cooperate fully and sign an NDA, Morrison Tech won't press additional charges. Dad will never forgive you for this. I thought about our father's face the night you'd given us his ultimatum. Maybe not. But he raised us to believe in ethics and accountability. It's time you learned about both. The next few weeks were a blur of legal meetings, SEC interviews, and damage control. The board, presented with evidence of Amanda's actions, unanimously accepted her resignation. 3 more board members resigned when their involvement in her schemes came to light. Mom stopped speaking to me entirely. Dad sent a short email. You did what you had to do. Give us time. A month later, I stood at our annual company meeting, facing the employees who had weathered the storm with me. The past few months have tested us. I begin. We've learned hard lessons about trust, integrity, and the true meaning of leadership. But Morrison Tech emerged stronger. I gestured to the presentation screen behind me, showing our latest financial results. Our AI platform launched successfully. Our client base is growing. And most importantly, we did it the right way through innovation, hard work, and unwavering ethics. The applause that followed felt like vindication. Later that evening, alone in my office, I found an old photo in my desk drawer. Amanda and me at Morrison Tech's launch party 12 years ago, both smiling, full of hope for the future we'd build together. My phone buzzed with a text. Unknown number, but I knew who it was. You won. I hope it was worth it. I looked at the city lights, thinking about cost and victory, family and business, right and wrong. It wasn't about winning. I texted back. It was about doing what's right. I hope someday you understand the difference. I put my phone away and turned to my computer. There was work to do, a company to run, a future to build. The path forward might be lonelier now, but at least it was clear. Sometimes protecting what you've built means losing what you thought you couldn't live without. But as I looked around at the company, I'd sacrifice everything to preserve. I knew I'd made the right choice. The next morning, I arrived early at the office. On my desk was a single envelope, my father's handwriting, my name, and his familiar scrawl. Inside was a newspaper clipping from 12 years ago, announcing Morris and Tech's founding. Below it, in his precise writing, you stay true to your principles. Your mother and I are ready to listen. Dad. I pinned it to my bulletin board, right next to my original business plan. A reminder that while family ties might bend or break, the truth eventually finds its way home.